Well, hi, good morning, and thanks so much for joining me here in my shop. I'm going to be starting a brand new project, and that's why the bench is empty, because the project is actually over here. Let's take a look at what we got here. It's a console stereo, nice small one. You know, a lot of these consoles are gigantic monsters, so this one's quite small. And in it, oh, look at that. Got a really nice looking stereo and a kind of a typical record player. Not the best record player in the world, but it's not too bad. Let's see what we can see here. So I have not really checked this thing out at all, other than to do what you've seen too. Just look inside and see what it is. So cartridge is completely loose here. Needle is not out of its cradle, but it has a needle, it has a cartridge. And this is really nice looking. You know, in cases of consoles, you know, they spend their lives with the lid down. So there's a good chance that they're in really good shape inside. Really good chance. So let's take a closer look at this. I'm gonna use the close-up camera here, and we'll see how that goes. I may have to fiddle with it a little bit to get it to work right. Let's see. It might be. I think it's good. Okay. So the record player. Let's start with that. That's a BSR. It's a BSR UA14. You have a little bit of trouble keeping track of what is showing up on this video. It's hard for me to look at the record player and look at my monitor screen at the same time, so I'm just going to have to trust that this guy's focusing. So this is the detector for the larger records, which will flip this when they drop. So this is a little unusual. Usually these arms swing this way. This one must go right up over the top. There it goes. Yep, right over the top. That's a little unusual. But lubrication, typical problems with the record player. So this is really stiff. I imagine this will just be a very, very typical tune-up and regular maintenance sort of job for the record player. Okay, oh my gosh, I hope that camera was aimed at the record player during that. Okay, let's look at this. So we got an AM tuning, separate knob, and FM tuning, separate knob. That's fantastic. That's great. Everything feels fine. Of course, volume and balance. There's a double control here. Function. There's a function switch. It's got numbers. It's a little bit unusual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then there's a table here that tells you what it is. So there's the off. So right now it's switched to phono. That's off. Off, and then FM, FM AFC, FM AM, FM AM. You get both the FM radio and the AM radio going at the same time. Why in the heck would you ever want to do that? Very early stereo simulcasts. I don't really know why you would do that. Okay. 5 is the AM radio, and then lastly we have the phono. Excellent. Sounds like the switch feels like it works. I think this panel is in really nice shape. Okay, that's a quick look. So, you know, at a quick look, it looks great. And again, I apologize for any sloppy camera work here. Let's switch to the other camera now, and seems to be a little bit more controlled. Okay, so I could start on the stereo or start on the record player. So what good is a working record player if the stereo doesn't work at all? And what are the chances the whole thing already works? There's a chance of that. There's a really good chance of that. Let's take a look at the back here. not super duper heavy. You just saw me pick it right up. That's another great thing about a smaller console. The larger consoles, the ones that are like 18 feet long and that, well, they're almost always stereo consoles, and they're achieving the separation of the speakers. And a smaller console like this, not likely to be stereo. Look at the front again. You can clearly see there's two speakers in the front though, but I just don't think this is stereo. It'd be screaming stereo. It'd have stereo written all over it, I would think. Now, so let's see if I can get my camera to go down a little bit here. Okay, hold on here. We're gonna go for a bit of a tripod ride. Here we go. That's probably just a little bit better for looking at the back of that. Still not the best, so I apologize again for crummy video here. Okay, we're going down another level. Ooh, quality of your chair watching my video. There we go. Now we can see a little more of what's going on. So I recognize that tube name, 6DT8. That's the same tube that was in the FM receiver of the last radio I worked on. Maybe looking down at the floor a little bit here. There we go. 6BA6 tuner. 225 EH5s. 12AX7. T6, T5. T1, T2. 4, T3. A two-part tuning capacitor here. So see one tuning knob hooked up here, the other tuning knob right into the FM tuner. So, looks like audio preamp, two output tubes driving two output transformers driving two speakers. So it sure sounds like it's set up for stereo. You know what? It's probably stereo for the phono. Where's the phono go in? How do you hook up a phono here? The phono's built into it, Jim. The phono is inside there already. Well, we'll look at it a little closer and find out if it's stereo. So occasionally these things are mono radios with the capability of a stereo cartridge and record player. What else can we find out here? FM antenna, shorted out. We shorted it out here. What are we doing? Is that by accident? Somebody did that on purpose. Wow. That kind of. So these copper wires, they're different than the wires here. This is somebody put a short across here. Why in heaven's name would they ever do that? Okay. Warning. Don't let Jim near this. So there's a lot written over here. Licensed in Canada under patents and patent rights of the years 1944 to 1961. Canadian Radio Patents Limited and the Canadian Marconi Company, Vancouver, Montreal, Halifax, Winnipeg, Toronto, St. John's. Licensed only for the non-commercial reception of radio telephone broadcasting. Radio telephone broadcasting. Canadian Marconi Company established 1902. Wow. Wow, that's early. 1902. That's really early. And the Marconi Company in Canada was in Vancouver, Winnipeg, Toronto, Montreal, Halifax, and St. John's. That's right across the country. Model 446A. 0.7 amps. Serial number right there. Made in Canada. It's got the Canadian Standards Association safety sticker on it. And then it's got a sticker here that says Made in Canada. So I think this is kind of like an export sticker or something like that. Kind of like a more government oriented sticker, I guess the manufacturer would stick on his stuff. Some screws missing here. So This is a typical, you think I'm the guy who worked on it, because this is typical of me. Let's take the back off and look inside. It's up on spindly legs. There's just two screws holding it. Okay, pull that out with the plug. Oh! Whoa! That just came right out. I don't think that was actually plugged in. Okay. Now, I can't see much under here. You could probably see more from the camera. Let's see. Let me look. About the same. So there's the two speakers. Wow, those are big guys. Well, I can't imagine anybody's fooled around with this thing. This looks like a it's a kind of resistor. For instance, you would put in series with a ballast. This looks like a ballast here. This wire looks like it's part of the antenna. This looks like an antenna. Yep, this has got an AIM antenna on it. Got screens here. Screen here. Keep the animals out. What's this? Here's the rest of the back screws. Just in a bag laying up in there. A little bit of writing on here from the cabinet makers. So how do you get the radio out? How do we get the radio out? So I can see some screws here like this. You can also see that this block is screwed into here. And this block is part of this. Maybe you undo the block and it starts coming out. They may or may not make this easy. Okay, so there's another one of these way in the back here. What's this for? Oh my God! So that's the record player up here. So this is power to the record player. So I'm going to pull this out. This is power. I mean, this has to come off. So I don't be able to plug this in. I'm obviously getting ready to. Wait, whoa! Don't go too fast, Chip. Slow down. We can still try this in the. Okay, we can try it. Let's plug it in. There's another antenna wire here, probably for FM. Yeah, I can plug this guy in. I can plug him in. Let me get a cheater cord here. Let's see if this will make it. There it goes. Okay, good. I'll get this into my dim light system up here. Okay, what to watch? What should I have the camera on? Staring in the back, so you can see the smoke and fire. Or we're looking back down inside it. I think looking inside it is going to be better. Better. So we're going to do a big rearrangement here. Hold on tight. My shop's only so big, you know. This is a big console here. So I'm going to want to bring it this way. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to roll this out here. this. Okay. Use only Marconi radiotrons when replacing defective tubes. Nothing on the inside. Well, it's interesting. Yeah, a big part of the business back then was selling tubes. For sure. You had to sell the radio to give them something to sell tubes to. So we know this is the on-off switch. It's currently set to off. You know, there's a numbering error on here. So the switch goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but the numbers go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's enough to confuse me. Keep my eyes open. Volume we want down. Bass and treble kind of in the middle. Don't really care. Stick the tuning in the middle. Don't really care again. Well, it's just a matter of just turn it on and wait and see what kind of sound comes out of it. I think that's really all we can do here. I think also I can actually put this. Can you do it? Not exactly. I was thinking I could put my camera a little closer here, but hold on. Here's a clever solution. Huh, never done that before. And what has he done? I'll show you with my other camera. They just broke a paradigm that has been in my head all my life. There's my tripod. The paradigm is all 3 feet are out the same amount. No, I got 1 foot extended all the way to the floor. That's the paradigm. 2 feet short, 1 long. Wow, what a breakthrough. Yeah, okay. You know, it's not just doing the work. It's making the videos. The whole thing is fun. Okay. Let's put this guy back here. So what I'm going to do, the switch off, I'm going to turn the power on here through the dim lights and see if anything happens. Nothing happened at all. Nothing happened down here. So that tells me the on-off switch at least works off. So I'm going to turn the power off again. I'm going to switch this on to the first setting, which is AM. Double check the volumes down. Okay, so now the excitement is the light over here, my dim bulbs. Really, this is where the excitement may be, right in this light here. Now, I have 2 lights. I have only this one screwed in. All the power going down to the console is going to go through this light bulb and light it up a bit. Console is going to draw a fair bit. It's a pretty big machine, lots of tubes. So probably, ultimately, this is going to drop a fair bit of voltage. It's going to glow a fair bit. If it comes on full, that tells me this is one sick puppy I'm turning on, and I better do some work on it. But if the light kind of comes on and then dulls down a bit, or it just doesn't come on really, really high, we're good. Ready for this? Here we go. So that's perfectly normal. Hard to tell in the camera, but this is dull. This is quite dull now, and I'm sure you can tell in the camera. All indications are nothing is seriously wrong in terms of short circuit or, you know, that kind of stuff. I hear something. No, I don't. I'm hearing things. Okay. Stick my ear down here for a hum. Oh. You know what? It's stone silent, which is not a good sign at all. Turn it up a bit. Oh my gosh. You gotta be kidding me. I think I hear that again. I believe it. So interestingly enough, only the speaker on this side is working. This speaker is silent. How much I want to bet it's AM out of one speaker and FM out of the other. And that would be how they did the combination AM-FM. Let's tune this thing. Turn it up. So that's this knob is spinning on the shaft, but that's full volume. That's not so good. Okay, tuning. Well, so the tuning is geared. The big wheel here, you have to turn it quite a bit. Beautiful. Nothing working, but beautiful. Sure sounds like FM, doesn't it? You know what? I got it on FM. Exactly the thing I thought might throw me off. The numbers are aborted. Okay, so it is on FM. Hey.
You also said that, or talk about the anti-vaccine movement. What do these conversations sound like?
Well, it's basically, it's a conversation where you have to have like this little existential crisis in your head, arguing for your right to exist in the world at all.
So a little touching of the antenna actually improved this thing quite a bit. Now I still have the dim bulb in, and we're running this. Oh, for crying out loud or something! Where's my ant killer? Got him. One fell swoop. Yeah. You know, I'd rather wound him and have him go back and tell all the rest. Don't go in the guy's shop, man. You'll lose a leg. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. So anyway, yeah. 90 volts. This is running with 90 volts. That's low. That could make its performance off. This bloody guy is not actually dead. He's going for it. You know what he just said? I heard him. He said, you know what? I'd do this again if I only had the guts. Okay. Let's try full voltage here. Here we go. Certainly did change. Lots more volume. Tuning went off. Volume down. Okay. Now I can hear a bit of a hum, but I'm not sure if it's program hum or... Isn't this interesting? It actually doesn't work as well. Sometimes when I'm doing these videos, you'll hear me mumble about, uh-oh, copyright hit and that. The last video I posted, I did get a copyright hit for 15 seconds of music. 15 seconds was enough for a copyright hit. What happens there, it's not really a hit, you know, I don't get punished or anything like that. It's just any revenue earned from the video goes to the owner of the music. The 15 seconds that I used in my 1 hour video, he gets the money and I don't. Justin Bieber, by the way. Justin Bieber, Canadian guy. Actually grew up not far from here. So I don't really like Justin Bieber's singing very much. You know, it's all auto-tuned. It's terrible. The guy can't sing a note, I don't think. It's all auto-tuned. Oh. So YouTube has a feature where you can just cut out the offending, in my case, 15 seconds. So I use that feature. It edits the video without me really knowing what happened. So you watch that video, there was a 15-second chunk missing with probably a little bit of Bieber on either side of it. If you noticed it, that's what it was. It was me solving a copyright hit issue, and I'm going to have the same problem with this. Imagine. And I'm not against the copyright. Remember, the purpose of copyright is not to protect the holder of the copyright, but to end his ownership of whatever it is at some point in the future so it becomes public property. Do you know that? Copyright is the opposite of what everybody thinks it is. People think copyright is to protect the owner, and it does. It does protect the owner. But way back when, that protection went on until they were dead and they could hand it down to their family and maintain a copyright or a patent, I suppose, on things in perpetuity. And copyright law breaks that. Isn't that interesting? I think that's interesting. No, it's not interesting. Okay, number 2, FM AFC. Let's just keep it going here.
Each other.
Practice
Well, that's good.
stay 2 meters apart. Wear a face covering when physical distancing is
That's
a
nice.
challenge, and
Face.
continue to wash hands frequently. Get tested
Yep.
if you're worried you may have COVID-19 or have been exposed to the virus.
Yep.
Inside or out, stay safe, save lives. Visit ontario.ca/coronavirus to learn more. Pay
So what we're going to do is we're going to see if the AFC does anything. With the AFC automatic frequency control off, I'm going to tune the radio a bit and see what range it has in the tuning, and I'm going to turn it on and see if the range has gotten bigger.
To Ontario.
Boy, oh boy, that's a load off my mouth.
The Life 100.3 Top 20 Countdown.
20 to iterate some of the biggest tunes on our station and find out the stories behind them. But first, there's a kind of singer of Need to Breathe. We'll find out why fans have to name their children after him. Unfortunately, divorce is on the run. That's why W. Smith is extra intentional with his ways, especially as a traveling artist.
So I made the Julie Girls one.
And the pandemic has many people trying new things. We'll find out what prompted Unspoken's Chad Matson to reach.
The next setting is AM FM. I'm going to skip that and go right to AM, and we'll come back to that later. Okay, so we're on AM now. Am I really? 5, yes. I'm going to land this airplane safely, don't worry. Beautiful. Okay, some stations down around here. Oh, there's a chance I've set this down in a way that the directional antenna in the back of it is pointing wrong. Let's think about that. It's this way. And you know what? I think that is wrong. I think it needs to be something like this. So if we did that, I'm not going to do it. If I turn the whole console, I think we get much better reception. Wow. Okay, let's try AM and FM together. There's nothing here to fix. AM, FM together. What a crazy idea. Okay, a little hard to realize what's going on there, but definitely AM and FM are both operating. The AM's coming out of this speaker and the FM's coming out of this speaker. So that's very much a separate AM FM radio. Even it's very unusual in a way that they have two complete separate audio systems, but I guess that's the only way they could get this both AM and FM on at the same time. And I guess if you're going to try the simulcasting thing, if you're going to do it with two FM stations, which would be preferable because of the high fidelity, you'd have to have two radios of two similar radios, one tuned to each station. Then you'd get early stereo. In this case, you can use the AM radio and the FM radio together to get a left channel and a right channel. You don't need two AM radios or two FM radios or something like that, and you don't need a stereo decoder. So I don't know how long this occurred, this simulcasting thing, but it did go on for a while. So this must have been made right at the time where broadcasters were fiddling with this simulcasting. I suppose there were probably station owners that had an AM station and an FM station, and they were probably experimenting with simulcasting. When I was in college, simulcasting started with FM stereo stations broadcasting special television programs. So you turn your cheap little crapola TV on, but the sound you'd have come out of your FM stereo. Of course, it's all kind of humorous today, but back then these were all cool things that were being done. Yeah, I guess so. You can hear a bit of a hum right now. It's really not bad. It's quite tolerable, in fact. Let's try playing this record player. Now, I did say that the needle was cockeyed on it. Let's take a closer look at the needle. See how cockeyed it really is. So, come on, will you please focus? So I'm going to manually force the focus on my camera here. So just bear with me for a moment. So what I'm doing is I'm calling up the dialog box for the camera. And we will change this to that and change this to that. Get a good close look. So it looks like it's just been knocked off to the side. And you know, I would bet that's a fairly new needle in there. So I think that's an easy thing to fix. Oh, the whole cartridge is hanging loose. It's hanging loose. Hanging loose. Hang on one second. Let's just take a look at what's going on in here. So it's a cheap record player. I'll talk about this in a minute. Oh, focus is manual now. So there's all these different holes. You can adjust the spring and adjust the weight of the tracking pressure of the needle. Everything turns free. Very nice. This adjustment here is probably controlling where the needle comes down on the record. Does it hit the right starting spot on the record or not? Oh, there's a clamp here which is not being utilized. I clip this down, and I can see the cartridge is just shaking free, but that's only because the screw is loose on the top here. Screw on the top. There it is. Okay, so let's fix all that. Tighten her down on top first. So this is certainly not the original cartridge also. I didn't say that, but it certainly isn't. So there's a replacement cartridge. So it's got a new cartridge and needle in here. Oh, the screw does it? Oh my gosh, really? You can't, this is not the right screw and it doesn't go in far. They didn't try to play this like this, did they? Oh my gosh, let's take it out. I still have this thing playing, but that's okay. Leave it on for a while and see if it starts smelling like something's burning up in it. And it's not. So what they've done here, there's under the screw has a small nut on it. And they must have been making some attempt. Oh my gosh, that's just not going to work out. Oh, that, you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to set this from going up too far in the head. Because if I just use a short screw, this will be right up in the head. The needle won't make it to the record. Well, this is a real tricky thing to try to get to work out how this is done. It's one of those things you kind of get it good enough. It'd be easier to do this. So this is tightening up. You know what it'll do? The screw and nut will turn without tightening. Tighten a little bit. Oh my gosh, look at that. Success. Except well, this is terrible. Oh, you can't have a cartridge doing that. In the long run, we got to come up with something better here. In the short run, it's okay. And I'm going to stick the needle where it's supposed to be. There we go. This all seems very soft and pliable. The flip arm is not hitting the edge of the shell, which is common when you replace these. Sometimes the flip arm will hit the shell, and that'll cause the needle to be off just a wee bit. Now, about this record player. This is nothing to write home about. when you look at a console like this, you can judge the quality of the console like that by looking at the record player. So this record player is a rumbler. It has a rumble in it. It doesn't have a balanced tone arm, it has a spring-loaded tone arm. So this is not a high quality turntable. It will not, you cannot listen to the lowest sounds on a record with this turntable because you'll hear the rumble with it. So this whole console is designed with this in mind. So there'll be a low frequency, a lack of low frequency response to compensate for this lousy record player, which is okay. It's okay, don't get me wrong, but it's not high fidelity. I don't think you can call that high fidelity. Hey, when they had the cartridge up, how many wires were on it? Yeah, there's 4. So that again explains why they went ahead and did this 2 tuner thing. They have to use 2 amplifiers to amplify this. They're going to have a complete 2 complete amplifiers for this, then they might as well have 2 amplifiers for this. Okay, so this is still running. We'll now flip it to phono. Flip it to phono, which is number 6, which is at the top. I almost went the wrong way again. We're on phono. Humming not too badly. And we'll now do the big cartridge test. Here we go. Yep, both speakers. Unbelievable. A little bit of lubrication in there. I need a record. I got a record in here. Is there a record in here? Come on, come on. Want to keep a record handy? So I do not have a record in here. So I am going to leave the video running. I'm going to run down and grab a record. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, now not a lot of YouTube videos that leave you staring at nothing like that, eh? Who are all those people who edit out the slight hesitations in their voice on YouTube videos? Doesn't that drive you nuts? Chicago. There. Is there a number on this or something? Chicago. Chicago 7. Okay, Chicago 7, eh? I don't even know if this will turn yet. Duh. Let's find out if it'll even turn. So, with no record, with the tone arm up, we're going to flip this onto manual. Didn't get very far there, didn't we? Oh, you know, I pulled the plug out the back. Yeah. for some reason. I don't even know why. Why did I even do that? Okay, we're going to plug it in. Hopefully there's no short circuits in the record player. Okay. Let's give this guy a try now. Manual. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on, you can do it. There's like no drive whatsoever. Let's try the gearing. Wow, this is really stiff stuff here. Yeah, this record player is gonna. I can't move it beyond here. I can tell the motor's trying, so I'm going to pull the plug out of the back here. Come on. Oh! How do you say ow? I can break down on my hand. Interesting enough, most record players, these things are completely failed. This one's got a little bit of, not much. Watch your fingers. Not much. Okay, so radio amplifier, really in pretty good shape. Record player, not so much. We'll go after the record player first. See if we can fix that up. And I think maybe this will, I think I'm gonna call this the video for today. Tomorrow I'll focus on doing the record player, and then from there we'll get into the receiver, amplifier, and all that stuff. But I think I'm gonna call this the video for today. So thank you very much for watching, and I think we're gonna have another nice day here. I think I'm looking forward to it. So hey, thanks for watching. Bye.